Hey everybody, I am here with my mom, aka IBB Mom, Miss Tanja, not Tanya, Tanja, and we're going to talk about your IBB top 3 keys to success and happiness, and whether it be business, life, family, those. How do you stay burn proof in those areas of life? And if you had to pick 3 things of all the things that you've used in your mama ninja tool belt, business owner tool belt, what would those be? So we'll start with the first one. You all have to come back for the second and third one in the next videos, but I'm very excited for your first item. What is it? What is it? How do we stay burn proof, Mom?
An it.
So,
and a lifelong journey coming down with a first it.
First it.
And I believe what it has come down to is believing.
Okay.
Believing in, say, your family. Believe in your family. Through the good times, through the hard times, believe in the best. Believe what the family can be if you don't give up. Believe in your business. Believe in what, if you believe in it, if you believe in the type of product you have or the type of service that you give, believe in it. Look at the big picture. Through the good times and the hard times, you got to keep believing in what you know it can be.
Okay. Mm-hmm. I'm sure that I had a lot of moments where you had to keep on believing in me when there was no real valid reason to. But could you maybe give some examples of how you had to keep believing in James, that one day you call it the bridge of humanity?
Yep.
There was and everything really started when I met Erica. That's when everything really started to fall into place. Even she had a ton of work to do. So between you and Erica, and you had your hands full trying to make me not suck, I guess.
How do we make him not suck?
Yeah.
I think Erica had a whole lot more clout than I ever did.
Okay.
But I'm a firm believer that we all need the time we need to be in that stage of life. And if I would have had it my way when you were older, when you were younger, I could do it with my eyes closed, my hands tied behind my back, never needed a break. It was just the love of my life. And then they got older. Then you got older, and you took your brothers with you. They all got older too. It became something that
I always get blamed for everything they do.
He did it.
They only got older because I did.
Yes.
I forced them to.
Yes. So it became tough because now, when we were young, I always wanted you to be able to maneuver in life and to handle yourselves. I would give, I don't know if you remember this, back in the day when we had phone books, I would have you look up Toys R Us's number, taught you how to use a phone book. You would call to see if they had your toy, that type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Shake someone's hands, look them right in the eye, squeeze it firmly but not rudely. Mm-hmm. Anyways, you became social monsters.
You would make us.
Oh, here we go.
Like we go to the mall or a store, or we were just out in public anywhere. You would not get out of the car until we opened the door for you. And then I still vividly, I don't even know if Sears is still there, but we're walking into Sears. There's a whole bunch of people behind us. And we were about to walk up to the door to go into Sears and into the mall. And you're right there, and you're like, oh, I just hope some nice young gentleman opens the door for me. And I was just like, Mom, there's people behind, so just again, that's one that sticks out forever, but you always did that. I hope a gentleman opens the door for me. I hope that some nice young man, is a gentleman. And
did one do it?
Oh, it definitely, it worked. definitely work. I'm not the
You hear
smartest.
that, ladies?
I'm not the smartest guy all the time, but like that part of being, you know, a grown up and someone who is looking out for. I think a lot of times, what I learned is with your help and Eric's help, just like sometimes when you're there for everybody else and you're such a gentleman for everybody else, you actually leave your family hanging, and you leave you kind of leave them behind, trying to make everybody else be happy and loved and all that. So, but no, it did definitely work. I remember that. So it was more. Was it like as soon as we got into the teen years, it was hard to believe in us, or like how to?
Well, you guys, you're the arguing, not the contention between you and a unnamed brother we almost started a fire once, and I just happened to roll in and stop it. Yeah. Should we talk about that?
If you want.
Because this is all along the lines of believing no matter what. But my neighbor Kathy Malakar and I were in between this little piece of grass between my house and I think it was Chris and Jen's McCrone's house. And we were blowing up an inflatable pool. Because all we wanted to do to keep our eyes on the kids and sit in about 2 inches of water. That was our like.
Have some sense of normalcy.
Yeah, this is let's have a good time. Some
sense of relaxation. Yeah.
So, James's bedroom was in the basement at the time, and that's where the laundry was. And I might have this mixed up, but anyhow, blowing the pool. James comes home, goes down into the basement, sees Josiah's clothes all over his stuff, blowing up the pool. Door slams open. James has a big pile of Josiah's clothes. Boom, puts the clothes on top of Josiah's car, goes back in. Blowing the pool up. Josiah comes out. Rah! They go down, they get at it, and I'm not exactly sure, maybe you can help me out with this. This kind of went on back and forth with the clothes. And then I think Josiah
I just kept losing my mind. Why can't you just put your... I folded them. I would fold their clothes for them, and they couldn't just take them up the stairs or around.
You've left your piles around.
Correct.
You've left your piles around. So I think you were taking Josiah was taking your pile of clothes to the tree line.
Yeah.
One of you were on your way, while the other one was coming behind, gonna take it out. It was just gonna start happening. In my bathing suit, not wanting to be seen in public, blow up the pool.
So you're just watching us like ready to kill each other, just back and forth.
How long
is this like a 5-minute like bam bam bam, or is this like a drawn out?
I'd say that
I remember being furious. I was not.
I would say it might have been a half an hour total, but once you guys started taking it out to the front yard, I had to put down my floaty pool and go out in my bathing suit to try and like figure out how to knock you out, to not have you guys knock it off. So then it calms down, go back to blowing up my little floaty pool, and I have to go in the house for something, and James comes out, you come out of the back door with a pile of clothes again, and as you're whizzing by me, I'm thinking, that smells like gasoline. And sure enough, he's on his way to the backyard to light this pile of clothes on fire. A fire. So then, of course, I got very involved.
Clothes almost got IBB'd.
Yeah. So, anyways, this was pretty. I could honestly say
this is pretty much every day.
It was a constant.
Between the four of us, this was like, whether it was me and Joe, it was usually me and Joe.
It was usually you and
Josiah. It was usually me and Joe.
Absolutely. And it was at the most inopportune times. It was at wonderful family functions, and the two of them would just take out the day.
I would ruin every holiday, birthday, because they would all come.
It's bad.
Josiah knew how to he would just keep poking. And this is like hours of like being around everybody, And I'll forget, I was dating Erica. Like, that's how recent it was when I ruined Thanksgiving.
You were married, I think.
I may have been, yeah. So I'm a married, grown man. Got my life together.
Everybody's bowing their heads to get ready to say thanks. Grace.
Oh, we're saying, yeah, we're about to say like,
Except he's not in the room. He's gone. You weren't there. All of a sudden he comes out of nowhere.
No, I was sitting there.
Oh, then you got up.
No, so I was sitting there, and Josiah had been poking the bear, and I think Dad was praying or something like that, and something Dad said or whatever. Josiah made a comment right next to me, and I just blew up on him. So imagine that everybody's Thanksgiving dinner. Everybody's like, it's the holidays, we're together, and I went off.
Yeah, you did.
I went off, and then as soon as I got done saying what I needed to say at the top of my lungs in his face, the little voice in your head that says, "You just ruined Thanksgiving. You should disappear right now." And I just, like a little kid, ran upstairs to one of the rooms upstairs, and I just so mad at myself.
Yeah.
So mad at myself. But to Josiah's credit, since he's been with Vanessa, I talked to him at 6:15 a.m. today. He called me. We were just talking. Yeah. Talking. He's one of my favorite people in the world. So that's what I'm getting at. It's like, so you're talking about like having this belief and this faith in people, especially when it's like your kids. You're kind of stuck with them, But not everybody sticks through it. But like, I mean, there's so many times like we could just get rid of Josiah, and then this stuff would stop happening, and then Josiah would be like, well, we could just get rid of James, and this would stop happening.
So I said, well, maybe if we get rid of them.
Maybe we get rid of both you, and then give John and Jared a chance to duke it out. Yeah, so I guess, how can people, like is there a saying in your head that would, like, keep you going when you're ready to kill us? And, like,
no.
When you wanted to give up, like, it's not so much wanting to give up, but, like,
you want to give up,
when you thought there was just no hope for us.
Yeah, I wish it was the proverbial saying, if I only knew then what I know now, I could have been more aware, and I could have navigated being a mom better. And I say you can't go back. But one thing that did happen was I realized at one point in time, it's not for you to try and fix anything anymore. You're like Charlie Brown's mother to them. They're on their way. They have the feels that they have. They're involved in what they're having. Their testosterone is what it is. And I just needed to start praying and believing that God would send people into your life from, wherever he was going to send them from, to meet you where you're at and kind of help you through life's way. And gosh darn it, he did. And one of them's name was Marlene.
Yeah.
So Marlene was a wonderful listener. She was a wonderful counselor, and we had her on speed dial. And as years went by, she knew us pretty well. Mm-hmm. And life does take time, so you can try and you can try and you can try, but sometimes you can't fix something until you're just. It doesn't click until you're just at that point where now it makes sense.
Yeah.
And you're ready. So I do remember you getting a phone call from you and leaving a voicemail that you had just gone and talked to Marlene, and she was telling you how far you've come, and you were. I remember you saying that you just thanked me for not ever giving up. I always kept believing.
Yep.
So, and I'm sure all moms and dads have their ways of keeping on.
Yeah, well, too, like, even, like, with Marlene, it was, like, she was kind of, like, an extended part of the family, I guess, but, like, so I guess that's another thing, too, with other, like, parents out there and family out there, like, so, like, I mean, obviously with different clients and people we talk to, like, they say, went to counseling and it made all the difference, or, they're like, we couldn't work it out, I wanted to go to counseling, but the counselor is not going to fix you, but it was just kind of, I always liked it. It was just an independent party.
They just gave you
to that, like, just also too understood how humans work, how brains work, how like I remember her breaking down, like, James, this is the family dynamic. So it's not just you, it's not just Joe. Like, this is how each this, one of the children are usually this, one of the children are usually that. Like there's like it's but yeah, she was like one of the first breakthroughs for me and Joe when just something simple where Josiah forever is like, you never thank me for anything. I'm like, all I do is thank you for stuff, even when I shouldn't. But what I would say, I never said thank you. I said I said Joe, Josiah, I appreciate it so much. You'd have no idea how much this means to me. I appreciate it. I appreciate you. So I would use the word appreciate instead of the word thank you. And she drew that out, and then magically, that was like part of like the healing process for me and Josiah. But like, I remember you did it as kind of like hey, this is my Christmas gift to you. Is I'm gonna pay for one session a month. So like, you find that sometimes. I definitely wasn't gonna go on my own. I don't think. So like, how would you do that? How would you?
I think people might have a look at it as maybe embarrassing to be going to talk to a counselor. And I have a very dear friend who is, she's in social work, and she said she was just so proud and pleased and impressed that that's what we were doing, because most people won't. But that's how, when you need somebody else to talk to that's not involved, and you got a good one. I'm super picky because you can get some bad fits.
Correct.
But I will say to anybody out there, what I didn't realize in the beginning, I didn't know that much about the concept of enabling. Now, out of the goodness of my mom's heart, and coming from a very, very, very poor background, she paid for everything. She was just constantly trying to help us. And unfortunately, we weren't taking the help and becoming better and getting more stable on our own. I began to raise my children. I didn't want to have those bad feelings, like afraid, they might be sad, something might happen. They don't have to clean their room tonight because I don't want them to lose any friends if they don't get to go out and play at the party. But you can do it in the morning. And enabling is a very, 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 very bad cycle. Knock it off. I think I was at Ridge Point, and I was paying 5 car insurances, because how could you do that to your child to have to pay car insurance?
To be clear, I paid my own car insurance the whole time. The whole time. This is on.
Okay.
This is on.
4. So I learned that not only could I not afford it, but I learned that I was cutting their legs off.
To be clear, I paid my own car insurance. Nobody else did. Sorry.
Actually, he was very financially responsible.
I just had a job. I had a paper out
when you were 9. Yep.
Yeah.
So anyways,
sorry.
It's very important that you
Get to work, pay your
understand
bills,
where
right?
your children are developmentally, know what they need to be successful in their next stop. You got to be ahead of where they're going. Prepare them for success in their next step.
Yep.
It's going to hurt your feelings, moms and dads, but get over it. It's not about you. Your most important job is to work yourself out of one. Let them have the wings to fly. Give them the opportunities and the experiences where they can stand on their own legs and be okay to have to be in a situation to figure stuff out themselves. So that is what I would say we all kind of came around in. But
I felt too like, so it's, you're talking about the enabling, like you definitely let me get away with a lot of things, but two, I think that I only have 2 kids. I couldn't imagine another 2 on top of that, but I feel like, I guess there's a question for, again, anybody else that has multiple kids, and then if you want to tie this to business, like I can't even pay as much attention to the other people on our team as I did with Gary, because like Gary was like my first IBB baby, whatever. Yeah. But so I guess whether you could go back or like looking back, like just like the current paying bills, I felt like even if it wasn't necessarily said, but I just assumed if I wanted something, I had to pay for it. I just assumed if I wanted something, I had to work for it. Even like talking about like, you know, how you were trying to get the You Promise card for. No one told me, James, you have to go to college. No one said. I mean, honestly, I went to college to run track. I wanted to run more track, but like, so I guess for me, I just kind of always assume like if this is what you're supposed to do, then this is what you do. So,
Yeah.
You're
right.
You did
He's
good,
right.
Mom. You did good, but I guess it does get and
but that's your
all four of
personality
us,
too.
all four of us are contributing citizens to the world.
Oh my gosh, they're fabulous
You know what I mean?
young men.
But-
They are fabulous. I love them. I'm proud of them. It is amazing to see how they have grown, gone through circumstances, and just have owned it. And I think once you get to the point where you own yourself, you own your decisions, you own your responsibilities, you own the idea that you are going to be the one to figure stuff out. And I got out of the way as a parent, even as you guys have grown. I am here anytime, night or day. I will be here for you if you need anything. But I know that my lane now is over here. I had to figure it out, and to say that you need me to make every decision, or even younger, it's like you're not giving people a chance. You're not giving them a chance. But now, as far as work goes, we have our hard times, and you've got to just believe that we've got this. We're going to do everything we can to make it wonderful. I try to believe the best in everybody. I believe in Ridgepoint. I believe in life as a developmental assembly line, and it's very important for the gals in Infant One to have an amazing idea where you have been as a little tiny person, and up until the time should we get you, love you, squish you, watch for developmental milestones, and then the big people all work together to help little tiny person be successful in their next stop. And I live on that, but I learned it from raising you guys. So I believe in that. I believe in the gals that like connect with these little people all day long. You just got, and then when the money gets short, when COVID happens, when someone gives you their notice, the city's going to do something, or just whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
I just keep believing.
Keep on believing.
Keep on believing.
Keep on believing. Yeah, because it's the second you think, okay, whew, we got to figure it out, like immediately, like that's like the next email that comes through, or the next phone call is, hey, this happened, and now you're just back. You're never back to square one. Like if you're ever back to square one, then it's like you're bankrupt and the game's over. But like it's like for every step you take forward, it's like there's like a million mini steps back that you have to like just kind of. The example that I'll give people that the way I put it in my mind is you wake up every day and you're chopping down the mightiest redwood with a spoon. Yeah. Like you're just like it's an impossible task, but you just have to keep swinging. So with again talking about like never stop believing that struggle. Where does that come from? Like, did someone tell you that,
no,
or you just?
I just believed it.
Just.
When you asked me to think of three things, that's just what kept coming to mind. I can't say that I believe the same way in everything, but I can believe this way, and I can motor forward one day at a time with the belief that I know who's in my center. I know that one day at a time I believe in Ridgepoint, and I believe in everybody in there. I believe in all the families, and sometimes you try to think too far down the road, but sometimes all you can do is like right here. I can believe like this for my family. I can believe like this for Ridgepoint because I believe it.
Right.
If I just you can't shake me on this one, guys. I mean, you can talk about all kinds of other things, and I say, well, I believe blah blah blah, but you know what? You can just convince me otherwise immediately if you give me something good to look at. Yeah. I learn stuff all day long. It goes along. It supports. I believe, my mother, family. You just believe.
Yeah. So, Grandma, your mom, we could literally be the worst human beings on earth, doing all types of terrible things, and you could not get Grandma to not protect you. Like Grandma will, at any cost, at all costs, protect you, and
Because we're family.
Because it's like it always was, it didn't matter, and it's like even like Grandma and Grandpa, like it was. I lived there for a couple of years. Like John lived there. Like aunts, uncles, like everybody. It was like they were always taking care of whoever it was that needed the help at that time. So,
and when you guys were very little, when you guys were very young, my mom and Grandpa Bob would visit regularly, almost every day, and she would help out and she would do things with you guys, and she would, clean the house, and they would remodel, and I just grew up, well, as a grown-up, grew up more as you guys were getting older, and I came to that crossroads as far as needing a job. And when I started working at Ridge Point, it's like, if I could be half of the person to my family and to others that my mom has been to me, then I would feel like maybe I would have helped somebody along life's way. Yeah, Miss Julie, she's intense.
She's relentless,
yeah,
but
she's great.
And so, again, on the topic of belief, like I always believe if I'm half the parent that you've been, I'm half the parent that Dad. I remember like JJ's, is it the baby shower, right? They're not born yet, but
it's a baby shower.
Baby shower. So I remember I was like, Dad was helping me pack some things up, and it was just fine. I was just so afraid. I was so afraid to be a bad parent, like so afraid to be like to let them down, and but it was like, I just remember like loading up the box and like, wait a minute, if I'm a fraction of what Mom and Dad were for me, like I'm gonna be a rock star parent, So just kind of like it just it was very cool, very cool. So like, again, but I still had no proof. I had to believe. I had to just have that faith that if the people who are close to me have done it, then it can be done. It is. Good things are repeatable. Good things can be done again. So, is there anything else you would add to the topic of belief?
I can't think of anything right now.
Okay. Well, we got two more coming. I wonder what other embarrassing personal stories about me will show up.
But for sure.
But you gotta believe. That those stories are important.
So here's the scoop.
You better.
You asked me one more thing, and I said I couldn't think of it, and I did think of one.
Okay.
I want to tell you how important it is to believe in what is coming down the road. Believe in the best in someone. Give them some time to grow and to mature. Be there for them, but believe in what's coming down the road. I didn't really vision it quite like this, but I am so proud of all four of you. I believe it worked out, and it will continue. You guys will grow and keep. You guys set nice goals for yourselves as far as being cool people. That's nifty.
You taught us how to be cool.
Well, I don't know about that. I don't know about that, but I believed.
Believe you can be cool. And until next time, stay burn proof.